tied to the spit. The jungle was alive with the sound of drums. Red smoke rose into the air as fire cracked under a large metal spit. Around it danced strange-looking aliens with gray-blue skin, sharp teeth, and bone piercings. They were called Grakthons, a savage tribe feared across planets for one dark reason. They cooked and ate their enemies alive. And tonight, their meal was a girl. Thera, a young alien girl with glowing violet eyes and smooth silver-blue skin, was tied to the spit with heavy ropes. Her long white hair was dirty, her cheeks stained with ash. She struggled, but her arms and legs were tightly bound. The fire was already burning under her. The heat touched her toes. She winced in pain. The Grakthons laughed. She had been captured while trying to find water for her dying village. She never expected to be hunted, caught, and thrown onto a fire, like meat. A large Grakthon chief stepped forward, wearing a helmet made of a human skull. He raised his clawed hands and shouted, "Tonight we taste the soft flesh of the chosen girl." The crowd roared. Thera looked up at the sky, her heart pounding fast. She whispered, "Please, someone help me." No one was supposed to hear. No one ever had. But this time, someone did. Suddenly, the jungle edge behind the tribe rustled. The drums stopped for a second. The wind blew hard. A voice came, loud, human and full of power. "Let her go, or burn with her." All Grakthons turned. From the trees walked a tall man in dusty battle armor. His chest plate was cracked, his gloves torn, and his left arm was bleeding. But his eyes were sharp, full of fire. In his hand was an old plasma pistol glowing faint blue. His name was Dane Vero, an ex-soldier turned wanderer. He had seen many horrors in the galaxy, but this one made his blood boil. "Who are you?" the Grakthon chief growled. "I'm the last face you'll see if you don't let her go," Dane replied coldly. One of the Grakthons charged. Dane didn't wait. He fired once. The alien dropped, smoke rising from its chest. Chaos broke out. Screams, screeches, weapons drawn. Dane rushed forward through the fire. He shot 2 more Grakthons before they could touch him. He reached the spit and kicked over the metal pole. It rolled and Thera tumbled off, coughing. He pulled out a knife and cut her ropes fast. The fire had already burned her skin in places. She was shaking. "Can you move?" he asked. She looked at him with confused, tearful eyes. "You're human. And you're half-cooked," Dane muttered. "Come on." With no time left, he picked her up in his arms. The tribe screamed behind them. Dane threw a smoke bomb to cover their escape, then ran into the jungle. Branches hit his face. Thorns tore his jacket. Thera held on weakly, her head resting against his chest. Why did you help me?" she whispered. "I heard you," Dane said, breath heavy. "I don't usually answer cries in the dark, but this one felt different." They kept moving. Behind them, Grakthons howled like wild animals. Dane found a small cliff and jumped down into a narrow cave. It was dark, damp, and full of vines, but safe for now. He laid Thera gently on the stone floor. Her legs were burned. She had bruises on her neck and arms. "You need water," Dane said. He opened his backpack and gave her a small bottle. She drank slowly. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice shaking. "They were going to eat me alive." "I saw," Dane replied, sitting against the wall. "That's why I stopped them." She looked at him closely now. His face was tired, dirty, with a scar running from his right cheek to his jaw. But his eyes, they weren't cruel. They were kind. "You're not like the other humans I've heard about," she whispered. "And you're not like the other aliens I've rescued," Dane replied with a half-smile. Silence filled the cave, for a moment. Then from outside came another sound. The Grakthons were searching. They were close. Dane stood, checking his pistol. "They won't stop. They'll come after you again." "And now me too." Thera sat up with effort. Then I'll run. I don't want you to die for me. You're not running anywhere with burns like that, Dane said, crouching beside her. So we'll fight, together. She looked into his eyes again, confused and amazed. Why? Do you care? Dane hesitated. Then he whispered, because I saw your eyes. You were ready to die, but you still hoped someone might come. He smiled slightly. Well, someone did. The escape. Through fire. The jungle was burning behind them. Dane held his plasma pistol tight in one hand and supported Thara with the other. She was hurt badly, her legs trembling, her skin still marked from the heat of the fire. But she held on, determined to move. Behind them, the Grakthons screamed in rage. Their feast had been stolen, and they wanted blood. We don't have much time, Dane said, breathing fast. They'll spread out. We need to move far and fast. The jungle was thick with red leaves and long, thorny vines. Dane moved with the skill of a soldier, ducking under branches, stepping around noisy leaves, his ears sharp for sound. But he was not alone anymore. Thara was slowing him down, and he knew it wasn't her fault. Put me down, she whispered. You can move faster alone. Dane stopped and looked at her. Not happening. You're the reason I stepped into this hell in the first place. Thara blinked, surprised by his words. No one had ever risked their life for her, not even her own people. Then suddenly a sharp sound, crack. A glowing spear flew past them and embedded itself in a tree. Dane dropped to one knee, pushing Thara to the ground. They're close, he whispered. 3 Grakthon hunters appeared through the trees. They were faster, stronger, and carried weapons made for hunting prey like her. Dane acted fast. He tossed a flash bomb from his belt. Boom. A burst of white light blinded the aliens for just a few seconds. It was enough. He grabbed Thara and slid down a steep, muddy slope, holding her close. They rolled through thick bushes and landed at the bottom near a small river. They were wet, bleeding, and exhausted, but alive. Keep your head down, Dane said, dragging her into the shadows. Thara was coughing, shaking, her lips pale. I can't feel my toes. They're burned, Dane said, checking her foot gently, but not lost. You'll heal, if we survive the night. He ripped a strip of cloth from his own jacket and wrapped it around her wounds. Then, he reached into his belt and pulled out a small injection. This will help, he said. What is it? Thara asked weakly. Painkiller, human grade. Might make your heart skip a little. He smirked, but better than screaming. He gave her the shot. Her body shivered, but the pain began to fade. Her breathing calmed. Then she looked at him. You fight like someone trained in war. I was, Dane said. Special Ops. Earth Federation. What are you doing here, in this part of the galaxy? He looked up at the stars above the trees. Hiding from everything I used to be. There was a long silence. The only sound was the soft flow of water and the distant angry calls of Grakthons. Thara broke the silence. They weren't just going to eat me. They were going to sacrifice me. Dane turned his head slowly. Sacrifice? She nodded. They believe I carry something sacred in my blood. I don't understand it all, but they said I'm a key. A key to what? She looked him in the eyes, fear mixed with confusion. I don't know. But I think something ancient. Something powerful. Dane's expression changed. He had heard similar stories during secret missions years ago. Legends about ancient vaults left by extinct alien races. Vaults filled with technology far beyond anyone's understanding. If what Thara said was true, she might be the target of more than just savage tribes. He stood up. We need to keep moving. As they traveled farther, the jungle started to change. The air became colder, the plants less wild, more twisted. Strange statues made of stone and bone appeared along the path. This wasn't here before, Thara whispered. You've been through this jungle before? Yes, but never this deep. They came upon a clearing. In the center stood a large broken machine, old, rusted, with alien symbols glowing faintly. Dane approached it carefully. He brushed dust off a panel. The machine hummed and a projection came alive in the air. A map of the galaxy appeared, and one star pulsed red. Thera stepped closer. The light from the map reflected in her eyes. Suddenly the machine beeped, scanned her face, and said in an ancient language, "Key fragment detected. Tracking system activated." Dane's heart sank. They know where we are now. Just then, from the shadows, came a growl. 5 Grakthon warriors stood at the edge of the clearing. Behind them, a large one with golden armor and a burning sword. "The Grakthon war chief. We've got no choice," Dane said. He stood in front of Thera, holding his pistol, knowing it wouldn't be enough. She reached for his hand. "If I die, thank you for saving me." Dane gripped her fingers tightly and whispered, "Not today. We're going to survive. Even if I have to burn down this whole jungle to do it." Secrets beneath the skin. The red glow of the Grakthon war chief's blade lit up the clearing like a second fire. Dane stood between the alien girl and death. His body was tense, his mind racing. 1 pistol, 5 enemies. And Thera barely able to stand, but giving up was not an option. The Grakthon chief stepped forward, his voice deep and cruel. "You took our sacred meal. Now you both die." Dane didn't answer. He aimed and fired. The shot hit the chief's shoulder, sending sparks flying, but the armor held strong. Dane cursed under his breath. That armor wasn't tribal. It was high-tech. Stolen tech. The other Grakthons roared and charged. Dane threw a sonic blast grenade, the explosion hitting their ears like knives. 2 Grakthons fell, holding their heads. Dane rushed forward and took down a third with a knee to the throat, but the last one jumped at him and slammed him into the old machine. The impact shook the ground. Dane's gun slid away. The Grakthon raised his blade. Suddenly, flash, a glowing energy wave pulsed from behind. The Grakthon warrior froze, then dropped dead. Dane turned in shock. Thera was standing, tall, her violet eyes glowing brighter than ever. Her skin shimmered like starlight. Her hands glowed with strange symbols, symbols that weren't there before. "What was that?" Dane whispered. Thera looked down at her hands, breathing fast. "I don't know. I didn't mean to do anything. It just happened." Dane stared. "You've got something inside you." The machine behind him came back to life. Its voice spoke in an old, mechanical tone. Primary code awakened. Royal genetic match confirmed. A beam of soft blue light scanned Thera. The jungle around them went silent. Then a hidden door in the ground slid open with a loud hiss. Dane helped her walk forward. "You're not just a sacrifice," he said. "You're a trigger. Something big has been waiting for you." They stepped down into the hidden chamber. The air was cold. The walls glowed with blue circuits and alien symbols. They reached a platform surrounded by glass tubes, each filled with metallic suits, weapons, and floating orbs. A voice spoke again, louder this time. "You carry the memory of the stars, the blood of the builders. The vault is yours." Thera gasped. "I thought I was just a servant girl. I never knew I was part of anything like this." Dane looked around. "This isn't just a vault. It's a war chamber." He walked up to one of the tubes and saw something that made his eyes go wide. A set of armor built for a human. Sleek, sharp, stronger than anything he had ever seen. He reached out. The tube opened. "Dane!" Thera shouted suddenly, too late. The floor lit up red. A warning siren echoed. "Unauthorized activation. Defensive units deployed." From the ceiling, mechanical guardians dropped down. 6-legged machines with glowing red eyes and slicing blades. Dane jumped into the armor quickly as it folded around his body like liquid metal. The suit synced to his heartbeat. Weapons came. Online, HUD activated. He felt power surge through him like lightning. He turned to Thera. "Stay behind me." The first robot attacked. Dane moved like never before. Fast, strong, precise. He blasted one unit apart with an energy beam from his palm, Another leapt toward him, but he ducked and crushed it with a strike to the head. Meanwhile, Thera's hands started to glow again. She focused, and energy formed a protective shield around them both. Her body shook with effort. The power inside her was raw and unstable, but growing. When the last robot fell, the red lights faded. The chamber returned to calm blue. Dane fell to one knee, exhausted. What the hell is happening to us? Thera knelt beside him, trembling. I think I was meant to lead something, but I never knew. Dane looked into her glowing eyes. You've got more than just power. You've got history. She whispered, Then I need to find out who I really am. Dane helped her up. And I'll be right behind you. But before they could move, the old machine spoke one last time. Alert. Galactic signal detected. Vault coordinates broadcasted. Incoming vessels 3. Time to arrival 7 hours. Dane's heart sank. They're coming, he said. And not just the Gracthons. Thera looked at the sky through the vault's ceiling. This is bigger than me. He nodded slowly. No. This is war. Hunters in the trees. Night fell over the jungle like a heavy curtain, but it wasn't peaceful. The trees whispered danger. Leaves didn't just move with the wind. They twitched as if something alive slithered through them. The shadows were deeper tonight, thicker, watching. Dane Vero led the way, his new armor humming softly with each step. It had fused perfectly to his body, almost like a second skin. Still, it wasn't invincible, and the enemies coming for them weren't ordinary hunters. Behind him, Thera moved quietly, her skin glowing faintly under the moonlight. The ancient vault's energy still pulsed inside her. Her body felt light, her mind sharp, but every few minutes, her knees wobbled. The power was too new, too wild. They were being hunted, not just by the Gracthons, by them. The Dravari, a silent, alien race known only by a few names, whisper stalkers, invisible killers, cold-blooded, patient. Their victims often never saw them coming. They'd intercepted the vault signal like many others across the galaxy, but the Dravari didn't come for treasure. They came for keys, and Thera had become the most valuable key in the galaxy. Dane paused and raised his hand. Stop. They had reached a strange clearing where trees were unnaturally spaced. No animals, no bugs, not even wind. His armor's sensors flickered and lost signal. Something was jamming them. Thera stepped closer. What's wrong? They're here, Dane said softly. Then, crack! A dart flew past his head, barely missing him. It sank into a tree and hissed with green gas. Dane grabbed Thera's wrist and dove behind a log. A split second later, the tree exploded. He turned on thermal vision. Nothing. Of course, he muttered. They're cold-blooded. Another hiss. This time from above. Dane looked up and fired instinctively. A figure uncloaked in the air, tall, insect-like, with folded limbs and blades for arms. The bullet hit it mid-jump. The thing screeched and fell dead. They're on the trees, Dane shouted. 3 more dropped down silently from branches. Thera raised her hand and screamed. Energy blasted outward like a wave, sending 2 enemies, flying. The third tackled Dane to the ground, hissing, its breath sharp like acid. Its blade scratched across his chest plate, sparking. Dane headbutted the creature, then shot it point blank through the eye. Blood sprayed on his visor. Get up, move, he shouted to Thera. They ran, dodging between thick trunks and sliding down another steep slope. Dane's radar returned briefly. Enough to detect 6 more signals closing in fast. They stopped at a massive fallen tree trunk. I need to slow them down, Dane said, already planting charges. This might not stop them, but it'll hurt. Thera suddenly placed a glowing hand on the log. What are you doing? He asked. I think I can help. The wood cracked, then lifted, not floated, moved. The log twisted like a sleeping beast and curled up, creating a barrier of roots and branches. Her energy had awakened something ancient in the forest. The hunters arrived seconds later, screeching and slashing at the wall of living wood. Dane stared in disbelief. "You're not just a key. You're the voice of whatever that vault was protecting." Thara fell to her knees, dizzy. "It's too much." He caught her before she hit the ground. "No more using powers. Not unless you have to." She nodded weakly. Behind the wooden wall, the Dravari began cutting through. "They won't stop," Dane said. Thara looked up at him. "Why are you still with me, Dane? You could have run long ago." Dane hesitated. He looked into her glowing eyes, his voice low and serious. "I've seen war, lost people, done things I don't talk about. But saving you? That's the first thing that feels right." She didn't speak, just looked at him, her lips trembling. A sound broke the silence. Not claws, not blades. Engines. Loud ones. Dane stood fast and pulled her behind a large boulder. Above them, ships flew in, 3 massive black vessels dropping troop pods into the jungle. He focused his visor. "Federation soldiers," he said grimly. "Humans?" Thara asked. "Yes, but not my kind. These are scavenger units. Private military. They're not here to save anyone. They're here to steal." The jungle now had 3 kinds of hunters. The savage Grakthons, the silent Dravari, and now, ruthless human mercenaries. And at the center of it all, her. Far above, in the sky, a commander watched from his dropship. "She's active," he said, coldly. "The girl has awakened the vault. Prepare full extraction. Kill the protector. Take the key alive." Back in the jungle, Dane looked around, eyes wide. "We're not just surviving anymore, Thara. We're at the center of something huge. Everyone wants you. And they'll kill thousands to get you." Thara gripped his hand tightly. "Then let's make them regret coming." Captured again. The jungle was on fire. Again. This time, not from tribes or beasts, but from cold human machines. Dropships hovered above the canopy, flooding the trees with white searchlights and metallic screeches. Steel pods hit the ground like thunder, and out came men in black exosuits, their faces hidden behind red glass helmets. They held rifles that hummed with deadly energy. These weren't soldiers of peace. They were collectors, a ruthless human faction that hunted for alien relics no matter the cost. And they wanted Thara. Dane and Thara watched the chaos from a high cliff, hidden under moss and vines. Dane's armor blended with the surroundings. Thara lay beside him, weak from using her power again. Her breathing was shallow. She tried to sit up, but her arms shook. Dane touched her shoulder gently. "Don't push it. You've already done enough to save us both." Thara looked up at him. "We can't run forever." "No," he replied, eyes scanning the horizon. "But we can fight smart. Wait for an opening." They watched as the mercenaries clashed with the remaining Grakthons and Dravari. Lasers lit the night. Explosions shook the ground. Screams echoed through the trees. "This jungle has become a war zone," Thara whispered. Dane nodded grimly. "And you're the spark." Just then, his visor beeped. Motion detected. "Too late," he muttered. Before he could move, a stun blast struck his back. Electricity ripped through his body. He fell, gasping. "Dane!" Thara screamed. A second shot hit her neck. She collapsed beside him. Black boots surrounded them. The red visors looked down like emotionless eyes. One soldier scanned Thara and nodded. "Target acquired. She's hot. Trace levels of vault radiation active." Another soldier kicked Dane's helmet. "This one's just a bodyguard." "Kill him?" The leader raised a hand. "No, bring him too." He saw too much. Dane's vision blurred. All he could hear was the faint sound of Thara's voice, calling out for him as everything turned black. Time passed. Pain came first, then light, then cold. Dane opened his eyes. He was inside a steel room, arms chained to the wall, stripped of his armor. A red light blinked above the door. Across from him, Thara was locked inside a glowing energy cage. She was awake but weak. her skin dim, her hands trembling. Dane tried to speak, but his throat was dry. He coughed hard. Thera looked at him and whispered, "They're taking me somewhere. I heard them say core facility." He struggled against the cuffs. No, they're not. The door slid open. A tall man in a white coat stepped in. His eyes were cold, his voice smooth. Dane Vero, former Earth Federation. Dishonorably discharged. Record sealed. Dane didn't answer. The man turned to Thera. "And you, the lost one, the living key. We scanned your DNA. You're carrying something beautiful, something powerful, and we're going to take it piece by piece." Thera closed her eyes, shaking. Dane roared, "Touch her and I'll kill you." The man smirked. That would be difficult from behind a wall. He turned and walked out. The door shut. Dane pulled against the chains with every bit of strength he had left. His wrists bled, but the chains didn't move. "Thera, listen to me," he said. "You have power inside you, not just in your body, in your mind. Focus. We need one shot, one chance." "I'm scared," she whispered. "So was I," Dane said. "Every time I stepped into battle, every time I lost someone I loved. Fear means you're alive. It also means you're not done yet." Thera gripped the bars of her cage. Her eyes began to glow again, faintly. I'll try." Suddenly the lights flickered, her power surged. Dane's cuffs sparked and released. He fell to the floor, gasping. "Good girl." He smiled. He rushed to the control panel and slammed his fist on it. The cage dropped. Thera stumbled into his arms. "Can you walk?" he asked. "With you?" They opened the door and stepped out. Alarms instantly blared. The whole facility lit up. Targets escaping. Deploy drone unit. Dane grabbed a guard's rifle from a weapons rack and handed a small sidearm to Thera. "You sure you can shoot?" She looked at the gun with fear, then determination. "Not very well, but I don't need to." Behind her, lights exploded. Her energy crackling in waves. Dane grinned. "Okay, that works too." They fought their way down the hallway. Drones buzzed from the ceiling. Dane shot fast and clean. Thera used her energy blasts to disable security doors and knock back enemy troops. As they neared the hangar, Dane stopped. "What is it?" she asked. He pointed. Her vault armor. It had been locked inside a glass case. Next to it, his own. "They were planning to sell us," he muttered. He smashed the glass. In seconds, both were suited up. As the last door opened, a wall of guards blocked the exit. The commander stood in the center, face fully visible now. He was old, scarred, and filled with hate. "You two caused a lot of trouble," he said. "You won't make it out of here." Thera stepped forward, her body glowing. "Like a star," she whispered. "We already have. Vault of the Ancients." The hangar shook with power. Thera stood glowing like a rising star, her alien armor lighting up with ancient symbols. Her silver blue skin shimmered, and her eyes blazed with violet fire. Dane, beside her, rearmed, in his human vault hybrid suit, aimed his rifle at the private military guards blocking their exit. "Stand down," the commander warned, his voice echoing in the steel hall. "You're not leaving. You belong to us now." "No," Dane said, his voice calm and sharp. "She belongs to the stars." Then he fired. The bullet hit the floor. Not the men, but it was a signal. Thera raised both her hands. A powerful wave of glowing energy exploded from her chest. The force knocked back the guards like leaves in a windstorm. Consoles sparked, lights burst, the ship's engines flickered. Everything went dark. "Run!" Dane shouted. They darted through the hangar as warning sirens screamed. Thera's powers weren't just light, they were tearing at the very systems of the base. Dane fired at lock panels, doors opened just long enough. Explosions erupted behind them. They entered the last hallway and saw it, a vault-shaped portal the same as before, pulsing with blue light. This is a jump gate, Dane realized. It's part of the ancient network. Thera stumbled as she ran, her energy almost spent. Dane picked her up and carried her forward. The guards behind them recovered quickly and chased, firing stun bolts and plasma rounds. They reached the portal. "Do you trust me?" Dane asked. Thara looked at him with tired eyes. "With everything." They jumped in. The world spun, colors twisting like a tornado of stars and lightning. There was no gravity, no air, no time, just movement. Then a crash of light, and silence. Dane and Thara landed on stone. Real, solid stone. The floor was smooth and marked with golden symbols. Around them rose pillars glowing with soft light. Above them, a sky that looked like it held 2 moons and a swirling nebula. "Where are we?" Thara whispered. Dane stood up slowly. Another planet, one connected to the vaults. As they looked around, more lights came alive. A beam scanned. Thara again. This time a soft voice spoke, not digital, not mechanical. It was ancient and alive. Bloodline recognized. Initiating full inheritance. The ground split open, and a platform rose from the center. It carried a sphere of crystal and starlight. Thara stepped forward slowly. As her fingers touched the sphere, images flashed in the air. Ghosts of history, alien kings and queens, ancient wars, a massive vault being sealed with blood. And then, a final image. A child with glowing skin being hidden away on a distant planet. A last hope. Thara gasped. "That's me." She fell to her knees, overwhelmed. Dane rushed to her side. "What is this place?" Thara looked at him with wonder and fear. "This is my legacy. My family built the vaults. I was hidden, born from the last royal bloodline. My powers, they're not just energy. They're part of this galaxy's ancient defense." Dane stood back, stunned. "You're not just a key. You're the last of a dynasty." The platform pulsed again. From the floor, new armor rose, made from unknown material, smooth as light, silent as shadow. Royal war gear. A voice echoed again. "He who protects the heir shall be honored. The defender may choose the weapon of starlight." A blade of pure light formed before Dane, crafted from thought forged in energy. He took it in both hands. "If they come for her again, they'll have to go through me." Suddenly, the vault walls shook. From the sky above, ships entered the atmosphere. The private military had followed their signal. They were landing now. Thara stood, her body glowing brighter, her power more stable. "They won't take this place," she said. "Not while I breathe." Outside the vault, soldiers landed. Tanks rolled out. Drones scanned the ruins. Inside, Dane and Thara stood at the entrance. She wore her new armor. He held his starlight blade. Dane looked at her. "Are you ready?" Thara nodded. "I was born for this. I just didn't know it until now." He smiled slightly. "Then let's remind the galaxy. What happens when you corner a human and a queen?" The sky above turned red as the battle began, and in the ancient vault of stars, history prepared to repeat, or to change forever. From flame to future. The ground trembled. Outside the ancient vault, smoke filled the sky. Dropships darkened the 2 moons above. Soldiers in black exosuits marched in perfect formation, their boots cracking the dry surface of the forgotten world. Hover tanks hummed low, surrounding the temple ruins with deadly silence. And in the center of it all stood 2 figures. A human, once hunted, now armored in vault-forged steel. An alien girl, once prey, now awakened as the last royal bloodline of an ancient galactic race. Dane, Vero, and Thara didn't run. They waited. The mercenary commander stepped forward from his ship, eyes locked on them. "Final warning," he shouted. "Surrender the girl, or we turn this planet into dust." Dane raised his glowing blade. "You've made this offer before," he called back, "and you lost your men." The commander scowled. "This time we brought more." Thara stepped beside Dane, her new armor shimmering like starlight. "And this time, we're ready." Suddenly the vault behind them awakened. The crystal Thara had touched earlier now floated above the temple. Symbols danced across the air, forming shapes, language, and memory. Then, gates opened from every side of the planet. Not mechanical, doors, wormholes, ancient pathways between stars, and from them came ships, not human, not mercenary, but royal. Sleek alien crafts in blue and gold emerged, thousands of them, all answering to the long-lost signal of their queen. Thara's voice echoed across the battlefield, not by speakers, but by thought. This is your queen, speaking. The bloodline has returned. You will not harm this world. The mercenaries hesitated. The sky was filled now with glowing alien ships, all pointing weapons at them. Some soldiers dropped their guns. Others ran back toward their dropships. But the commander didn't budge. He screamed, "Fire!" And the battle began. Dane charged forward, faster than any human could move, his blade cutting through soldiers like light through mist. His armor absorbed shots, redirected plasma. He wasn't just fighting, he was leading. Beside him, Thara floated slightly off the ground, her body wrapped in a halo of energy. She raised her hands, sending shockwaves that knocked over tanks and tore through machines. Every step she took, the planet responded. Roots burst from the ground, stones rose to block enemy fire. She wasn't just defending the vault. She was commanding the world. The alien fleet above launched beams of protective light, shielding the vault. Enemy ships that fired back were disabled instantly, hacked by systems older than time. Dane reached the commander at last. The man fired, round after round. Dane walked through it all, sparks dancing across his chest. "Why fight for her?" the commander shouted, stepping back. "She's not even your kind." Dane stopped. "She is my kind, the kind that was brave, kind, and almost roasted alive while the galaxy watched and did nothing." Then Dane raised the starlight blade, and in one clean motion, ended it. Hours passed. The battlefield grew silent. The last enemy ship fled into the stars. The vault world was safe. Dane stood atop the temple, watching the alien fleet form a protective circle around the planet. Thara stood beside him, her glowing skin now calm, her eyes filled with peace, but also something else. Purpose. "You were always meant to lead them," Dane said. Thara looked at him, smiled softly. "And you were always meant to stand beside me." He raised an eyebrow. "Does that mean I get a throne?" She laughed. "No throne, but a seat at my side, a future." Dane looked out across the stars. "I never believed in destiny." "Neither did I," she said, placing her hand over his. "Until I met you." Far above, as light returned to the sky and fire died in the jungle below, the galaxy shifted. The royal bloodline was reborn. The vaults reopened, and one human, just a broken soldier, helped restart a legacy lost for thousands of years. All because he refused to let one girl become alien barbecue. From that flame, a future was born.